everyone, and welcome to the video. Today we're diving into a topic that sounds complicated at first, but we're going to break it down in a simple and clear way. We're talking about authoritarian right-wing ideologies, the kinds of political movements that are often placed in the upper right corner of the classic political compass. That usually means two main things: strong authority and hierarchy on one side, and limited focus on economic equality on the other. In simple terms, these ideologies believe society works best when there is a powerful leader, strong national identity, clear social order, and less emphasis on redistributing wealth. Over the next 10 minutes, we'll explore where these ideas came from, how they developed, and where we can still see their influence today. Let's start at the beginning. To understand authoritarian right movements, we have to go back to Europe in the late 1700s and 1800s. This was a time of huge change. The Enlightenment promoted reason and individual rights. The French Revolution overthrew a monarchy. Old systems were collapsing. But not everyone liked this. Some thinkers believed that too much freedom and equality would lead to chaos. They argued that society needed tradition, religion, and strong rulers to survive. These early reactionary conservatives defended kings, churches, and strict social hierarchies. They believed people were not naturally equal, and that stability was more important than liberty. While this wasn't fascism yet, it planted the seeds for later authoritarian ideologies. The idea was simple: too much democracy can destroy order. Fast forward to the early 20th century, Europe had gone through industrialization, economic crisis, and World War I. Many people felt humiliated, unstable, and afraid of socialism spreading. In Italy, Benito Mussolini introduced fascism. Fascism rejected both liberal democracy and communism. It promoted one nation, one leader, and total loyalty to the state. Individual rights were less important than national unity. Political opposition was crushed. The media was controlled. The leader was presented as the voice of the people. Fascism also supported a system where businesses stayed private, but were tightly controlled by the state to serve national goals. It promised strength, pride, and order in chaotic times. And for many people back then, that message was powerful. In Germany, a similar but even more extreme movement took tower: National Socialism under Adolf Hitler. Like Italian fascism, it promoted dictatorship, nationalism, and total control over society, but it added a dangerous racial ideology. The Nazis believed in racial hierarchy and used that belief to justify discrimination, persecution, and ultimately genocide. The state controlled political life completely, and dissent was punished harshly. The economy allowed private property, but businesses had to follow state priorities, especially military expansion. The result was World War II and the Holocaust, tragedies that changed the world forever. After 1945, open fascism became deeply discredited in much of Europe, but authoritarian nationalist ideas did not disappear completely. Authoritarian right-wing governments were not limited to Germany and Italy. In Spain, Franco ruled for decades after a brutal civil war, combining nationalism, Catholic tradition, and strict political control. In Portugal, Antonio Salazar built a system focused on order, religion, and anti-communism. In Japan, before and during World War II, militarism and emperor worship shaped an expansionist authoritarian state. Later, in parts of Latin America, military dictatorships claimed they needed strong control to prevent communist revolutions. While each regime was different, they shared key elements: strong centralized leadership, limited political freedoms, nationalism, and the belief that authority was necessary for stability. During the Cold War, the world became divided between communist and capitalist blocs. In this period, some right-wing authoritarian governments justified their power as a defense against communism. Anti-communism became a powerful unifying theme. Leaders claimed that democracy was too weak to fight radical left movements, so extraordinary authority was necessary. In some cases, elections were limited or controlled. Media freedom was reduced, political opposition was monitored or banned. Not all of these regimes called themselves fascist, but they shared characteristics often associated with the authoritarian right: strong executive power, nationalism, and resistance to liberal democratic reforms. In recent decades, new political movements have appeared that some observers describe as part of the authoritarian right spectrum. These movements often operate within democratic systems but challenge liberal norms. They may emphasize national sovereignty, strict immigration policies, traditional family values, and skepticism towards global institutions. Supporters argue that they are restoring national pride and protecting cultural identity. Critics argue that some of these movements weaken independent courts, restrict media freedom, or centralize power in ways that reduce democratic checks and balances. It's important to note that not every nationalist or conservative party is authoritarian. The difference usually lies in how much power is concentrated and how dissent is treated. One big question is, why do authoritarian right ideas keep returning? Often, they gain support during times of crisis. Economic collapse, war, rapid cultural change, or mass migration can create fear and uncertainty. In those moments, promises of strong leadership and national unity can feel reassuring. Some people believe that democracy moves too slowly or is too divided to solve urgent problems. Authoritarian movements often offer simple solutions and clear enemies to blame. They talk about restoring greatness, protecting tradition, and bringing back order. Whether those promises succeed or not is another question, but the emotional appeal can be very strong. So, what defines authoritarian right ideologies in simple language? First, strong leadership, often centered around one dominant figure. Second, nationalism, the belief that the nation must come first above all else. Third, limited tolerance for opposition. Critics might be silenced or marginalized. Fourth, social hierarchy, the belief that inequality is natural or even necessary. Economically, these systems can vary. Some favor free markets with strong state authority, others support state direction of key industries. But the common thread is clear. Authority and national unity are valued more than individual political freedom. As we wrap up, it's important to remember that studying these ideologies is not the same as supporting them. Understanding history helps us see how political movements rise, gain support, and shape societies. Authoritarian right ideologies have played a major role in world events, sometimes with devastating consequences. They continue to influence political debates today in different forms and degrees. By learning about their origins, ideas, and impact, we become more informed citizens. If you found this overview interesting, each of these fragments could be expanded into its own deep dive. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.